God, let me tell you this. Here it is. I'm on the steps of the Idaho State Capitol building. I'm Regina, proprietor, owner of Ray's Roast. And honey, I had a Queen's Blend this morning, and look where it got me. I started off in in Walla Walla, and now here I am in Boise on the steps of the Capitol. Queen's Blend, see where it takes you. Hi, everyone. I'm Regina, and you are you. Little blast from the past. That was an old advertisement for Queen's Blend from about 2014, 2015. Oh, no, I take that back. It was more like 2016. Um, yeah. Oh, fun. So I thought you'd all like to see that. It's kind of a fun little deal. This show is brought to you by, oh gosh, let me get it out here. Logo overlay. There we are. There it is. Oh, Ray's Roast Coffee. Queen's Blend. See where it takes you. And we might as well get this out of the way now too. Is give me a like. So that's the coffee address, and give me a like, subscribe if you can put up with my nonsense, and get notified. Click that bell. We're just here to make us all feel good. And I just love coming out here and talking with you all. So anyway, hey, what do we got to talk about today? I don't know. I had thought of some stories, and Lesoir, good to see you. I had thought of stories, but I don't know. I've been talking with Charlie this morning, and probably came up with something that I said, oh, here's a topic for the show, but now I can't remember what it was. It hurts when I have such a bad memory, So I don't know. Dang it anyway. I feel like I've just gone blank. I got to do a talk, tell my life story in a recovery way next Wednesday, a week from tomorrow. And so that's going to be interesting. I used to do that fairly often back prior to transitioning, and this will be my first talk since I transitioned, and I plan on talking about that. And they might not be that receptive to it, but most everybody knows. And I think it's important to get out there, about why I drank and why I used drugs, because I was so fucking uncomfortable with myself. And sorry about my language. That started as a child, and I was just so uncomfortable, and not even knowing what dysphoria is. There wasn't the terminology in the 50s for that. And it goes on and on and on. And pretty soon you start hiding from the fact that I would lay in bed every night, tuck, and then want to be like that, and just crazy stuff. All of our stories are so different, and it just kind of like is about how different we all are as human beings, whether regardless of who you are, what you are, or anything else. Each one of our stories is unique to us. Even our siblings can't always relate. You know, I was going to fix my hair some, and I just realized I forgot. I haven't even combed it. Oh, shoot. Isn't that funny? Who would have known? Who would have known if I hadn't have said something? Oh, thank you for loving my reading. And I thought the show was really pretty good too. And I have not listened to the album yet. And thanks for reminding. I get so freaking busy. I was gardening all day yesterday and just outdoors almost all day. I took on a new position, and this is kind of interesting. I took on a new position as a board of directors member at the local golf course, and it was an elected position. And I agreed to run because it was an elected position, thinking I would never get elected, that somebody would run against me, and then all the men that vote would not vote for me. I wasn't concerned about the women voting for me. I figured they would, but I thought that the men would. And oh my God, I ran unopposed, and so of course I got elected. You know, part of my whole thing with that is normalization. Get people used to seeing trans people around, and always the men had just not talked to me. They would like turn and run almost, and that's changing. You know, I took my seat the first week of January, and now that we're out and about doing things, I'm on a committee where I'm expected, the new president, actually listens to what I say and appears to me to like my feedback. And so like this is a whole new world. I was out there working in this flower bed yesterday with my committee member, you know, who lives a couple of doors from me. And her and I get to work on these flower beds, and she loves to garden. So she tells me what she wants me to do, and I do it, you know, perfect. I don't have to make decisions. I don't have to do anything, but then they want me to. And anyway, all of a sudden, I have men walking up to me and talking to me because I'm hanging out with Claudia. And it's surprising. And like yesterday, this guy came over. We were separated by about 10, 20 yards. I don't know. And Clark, he came over and started talking to me, and we had our own conversation before we joined the Claudia and his golf partner. And I thought, well, this is progress, you know. This is what I need to do is to get myself out there. And you know, it appears as though it's working. You know, I still have not had anybody attack me in any way, shape, or form around the golf course. I mean, they've made me feel uncomfortable before, when it was, you know, prior to my being on the board of directors. But now I see that I made them pretty uncomfortable too. And so, you know, we're kind of like normalization. I kind of think that's the answer to life. Just keep being out there. Today, I'm drinking an Ethiopian Gori Gesha Natural. This is a naturally processed coffee, And it's of that original geisha. You know, Gori was the state, I think, that where the geisha originated. And geishas are the last few years have been pretty renowned. Coffees. Sorry, I'm jumping back and forth all over the place. But oh, that's what I do, though, isn't it? Um, the geisha has been a pretty renowned coffee, even bringing as much. A Panamanian geisha a few years back was like $1,000 a pound at some special auction. You know, oh my God. It's not, it's a special coffee, but it's not that special in my opinion. You know, my coffee salesman, Tim, we've all met Tim back a few years ago when we did the tour through the coffee facility. Um, and so it is, we decided, yeah, let me get back to where I was. We decided that it was more about the name of it than anything. It wasn't really the flavor. But this is a good cup of coffee. I've been kind of tripping on it. I found a pound that had been sitting around a little bit too long that I didn't want to sell it, so I brought it home and God, I find that I have a cup of it at least one cup every day, and sometimes two. And I usually only drink about 2 cups of coffee a day. I had to do a test this morning. A friend of mine, one of my besties that lives here in town, she had gotten some coffee from somebody. It was a Brazilian coffee, which really makes no difference. And it was ground and whatnot. And her friend likes my coffee just fine, but he gave her this and he wanted her to have me try it and critique it. And so this morning I decided, well, I'm going to do this. And it's pre-ground. And I was taken aback by this coffee. And I used taken aback not in a positive way. Because when I started stirring it in the AeroPress, there was nothing. There was no bloom. There was nothing. It was like a dead coffee. When I take my coffee and grind it, dump it in the AeroPress, and add water, it starts bubbling up. And this is called the bloom. And because it's so fresh and it's still got so much flavor in it that when you put the water on it, that it just starts bubbling up, and then you start to stir it. When you start to stir it, it gets to be like a slurry. It's really thick and whatnot. And this coffee I put in there this morning was just thin and never had any bubbles to it. And I was just totally turned off by this. And so then I like pressed it and went about drinking it and trying to get it to like, I wanted it to have some kind of flavor so I could talk about it. And there was nothing. I mean, it was just a black liquid that had very little flavor to it. And this has got all kinds of different flavors. And so if we're going to drink coffee, let's try and find fresh coffee and grind it right when we make it, because that's really when it's best. And like the flavors can explode. And instead of just having this black liquid that really says nothing. So I gotta see what LaSoire's got going here. I got a 48, kind of expensive. I'll order some Queens Blend when I move and have a kitchen. Hey man, I love that. What else we got? Have you seen the shortage of cacao? Is there really a shortage? I have not paid any attention. Why is there a shortage? Is it because of the shipping, or did something happen in Central America that when you order coffee, LaSoie, when you order coffee, I will send you coffee that has been roasted um, within just a few days of me sending it. And it will be whole bean. Absolutely. You know, I try not to have anything sitting at my roastery for longer than a week. And so sometimes I get right down to the very nubbins, but a beetle ate it. But that's just in Africa. That's interesting. I had not heard about that. And I don't want to look right this second. A beetle eating cacao. That sounds kind of interesting. Imagine how that beetle would taste then. You know, kind of bittersweet. We have a fancy hotel here that serves crickets. You know, that's just kind of their thing. You know, it's a wine bar that serves crickets. Or at least some kind of bug. I don't know. Oh dear. Anyway, oh gosh. So I think that this is kind of like my time slot. Tuesday noonish in between 12:30. Um oh, I've tried the different things. Um oops, didn't mean to put your smiley face up there. Um I've tried different times. The Monday one is too close to Sunday, and I'm not really ready to do it. Um, and today just works out better. I mean, I got to I'm forced to keep it fairly short so I can get my work done too. Because I got to, change my clothes and run out and roast coffee for a couple, 2, 3 hours and then, go about my business. A lot of times I have stuff on Tuesday night and like I got a deal on Tuesday afternoon today, so I'm not going to be able to roast very dang long. And I haven't even had anything to eat yet today. Oh my. So, what kind of story you want to hear about my past? Um, you spend double on cold brews? Now, I'm not a big fan of cold brew, and I don't know why that is. They always say I never figured out the right ratio of the cold brew and then add water, and it always kind of came out weirdly strong. And so and then I went someplace, I think it was in Boise, Idaho. I was down there and I was like doing a tour of the coffee shops as I always do. And there was a place there that was just serving it straight, just as a same way out of, letting it drip through. And then, oh my God, it was just so bad, so bad. And so I don't know. There's always things to learn. When I did cold brews when I had my coffee shop. I just made iced coffee. I would make AeroPresses and make them really strong, and then like the espresso shot, and then chill it. Because it was my belief that if I poured a shot of espresso over ice that was hot, it would get bitter. And so I just struggled with making iced coffees, and I'll tell you what, I had some pretty good success doing what I did. And I would go through all kinds of um, contortions trying to keep from putting that coffee over ice, until I had it cooled off. I would take a metal cup and swirl it in a bowl of ice and do whatever I could to make it cool without that instant cooling over ice. And so then, I didn't want to do a whole lot of them like that. So I always kind of went ahead and had a pitcher of coffee made up that was just for iced coffees like that. And I was pretty successful with that. And that was pretty good. So I got the transcript. I got the transcript back the other day from my interview with the oral history of the LGBTQ people in the Walla Walla Valley. Hi, Simone, by the way. And that went pretty well, I thought. The I think she had like 15 questions to answer. Um, some of them were a little difficult for me because of my story, and like I had trouble talking about HIV and AIDS. I was alive, but I was so far removed from that. It was difficult for me to talk about. Hi, Christy. And so that was interesting, because I hid from myself, and that is, what people who transition later, I think, have to go through is hiding from themselves, and the torture of that, and the differences. Nothing. It's kind of embarrassing, I guess, and so just to be perfectly honest, I don't like that part about my story, and I did not want to share it, but so I talked it over with friends, and they said, just be honest. And so here I am being honest about it. And it is what it is. So stories about relationships are my fave. For movies, I love rom-coms. I wish I could try your shop. I love iced coffee. Four times barista. I helped an owner open a shop in Tucson. Oh, God, I've got a friend down there at some RV park, and she wanted me to come down there, and we would start a little coffee stand in the RV park and set up tables to all sit around and BS all morning and sell bags of coffee. It would have been so fun, but God, I can't do everything, and I can't. She wanted me to load the roaster up on the trailer and drag it down there, and so what's this now? It's also according to what type of hood you grow up in. If you live in a larger community, you have more exposure to different things. Well, that's true, and I've always been a small town person. You know, I grew up in Spokane, which is just a small cow town, you know, a couple 100,000 people. But the high school I went to had very little diversity in it. And oh, cool. Oh, and very little diversity, and there was some diversity at the other high schools around. What was there? 9 high schools, I think, at the time, that were all of equal size, about a what, 2,000 to 3,000 students each. My graduating class was 875 people, and it was a 3-year high school, and and no diversity whatsoever, none. You know, but that was what I graduated in 1968, if you will. You know, yeah, I'm an old lady. And so, you know, our experiences are so different, you know, because of that. Like I've lived in Spokane once or twice since then, but not since the 80s. And you know, I haven't even been in that area. And when I lived in Walla Walla, that was the biggest town that I'd lived in. And it's what, 50,000 people. Lewiston, Clarkston, just up the road, the other direction, had about the same amount of people. Not very many by standards. I've lived in towns as small as 100 people. Or actually, Sweet Idaho, oh my God, 75 people max on a good day. And that was probably the redneckest place ever. A lot of working cowboys. Oh, and drunks. That's what I was there for, was the drunks. And that was some of the darkest times of my life, living there. Um, so one of you got, I have heard Tucson is lovely. I have I been to, I don't think I've ever been to Tucson. What's that town just south of Phoenix, where the other airport is? It's not Tucson, I don't think. Where's my Google Earth when I need it? Hang on a second. Who left us? Mesa, I think. Isn't there, a airport at Mesa? I don't know. Tempe. Mesa? I don't know. I don't know. Casa Grande, Morona. I don't know. I flew from Tri-Cities down to there. So I went down to help that lady that I was just talking about with the coffee kiosk deal. I went down to help her drive her motorhome back up north here. And so yeah, that was quite a trip. You know, we stopped at Grand Canyon, came through what the what do they call it? The highway of the aliens or something, because we're really close to Area 51, kind of coming up from Las Vegas to Idaho. It was really kind of cool. I really liked that area around Caliente. Flagstaff's the other direction. That's in northern Arizona. Well, where'd I hide that one go? Oh, and so anyway, Casa Grande Morona. Hey, Hannah, how are you doing? So, oh my gosh. So yeah, what a great trip it was. Got on Route 66. I'd never been down that way, you know, to Arizona and hang out in the desert. And we camped out and we took that motorhome out into the middle of the desert, just south of Las Vegas, I think it was, or maybe it was north of. And yeah, I think it was north, on the BLM ground. Um and it was interesting, but I didn't see any flying saucers or anything like that. I was a little disappointed, and I didn't see much of you're in Flagstaff and it's snowing? Oh my stars. How high is that? That's like 10,000 feet, isn't it? Um, oh my God, I can't imagine snow, and it could still happen here, even though it's like 60 degrees and not quite 60, I don't think, but 50. Um, I sure don't want it to snow. We're done with all that. Things are bursting out in flowers and whatnot. Out working outside. Yeah. Life is good. Oh my stars. I can't imagine snowing. But you can certainly still see the snow on the hills around here. Oh God, that saddens my heart that you have to endure snow again. Oh my God. Some people actually like that. That one lady that I hang out with here a lot, she's from Minnesota, and her and her husband are going walking in the snow. They snowshoe and whatnot, and anymore, I've just gotten to where I don't do anything in the snow. I'm lucky if I even drive in it. Whoa, listen to this. Hi, Hannah. I love your album, All the Affirmations. It put me in such a good mood. I need to listen again daily. Whoa, there's great testament to what we got going on here. I will have to try that myself. I have been kind of negligent in that. So, I'll take my earbuds with me when I go roast coffee. And are you in Eugene, Simone? Is that the hills you speak of, the Cascades? I remember years and years ago, I had just gone Oh no, it was a different trip. Um, my friend and I were driving this old beat up Volkswagen van. This was like in the early 70s. We were driving this old beat up Volkswagen van to Mexico. And we had about $15 in our pocket. I don't know. Not very much, just poor hippies. Um, and we broke down outside Eugene. And oh my God, we rented a house. We were stuck there. And so we got jobs planting trees. And oh my God, what a mistake that was for a couple of girls like us. Oh shit. So we get up on the mountain and the ramrod starts, you know, bullying my friend that I was traveling with. Um and finally Roger, I don't remember if he quit or got fired. And oh, I took great exception to it. So I got into it with the guy and I ended up quitting or getting fired too. And so the two of us sat in the crummy truck and all day long, you know, it was early in the morning. Roger just was not a tree planter. And I'd never done it before either. And it was not something that people like us should have been doing. And oh my God. And so we got back and we figured out that the van wasn't that broken. And we left our house in Eugene and off we went. But it was so cold and ugly up on that mountain planting trees. It was like spitting snow at us. It was about this time of year and just cold and miserable. Oh my stars. Horrible, horrible. Oh my God. I always like to forget that, but it's hard to forget it. And I don't know. I don't know. You know, this is something I run into is because I lived the as a man for fuck, a long dang time. And that's a lot of my history. And so what the hell if I ignore all that, I got no history and it's unfair. And so I mean, it's just a different experience. Um, I don't know. It's interesting. Interesting. How do you folks all handle that? You know, do you count your mail history? And how long has it been? Like Simone doesn't have hardly any. And a lot of others don't too. And then there's people like me, and I have a lot. And it wasn't always easy. Crickets. What the heck? Anyway, uh, I do, but it doesn't come up much, or at least so it seems. I find I kind of agree with that to a certain extent. You know, um, in the beginning, it didn't come up because everything was so new, and I was so focused on all of that. But and yeah, yeah. I mean, what we are is what we are, and no matter how much we pretend to be something else, eventually I think we have to come back to this. Whether, it's like when I figured it out, when I first said those words out loud, within days, I was living the dream. And I mean, I never fit in. It's like you're an observer, but not really a participant. I like that. Yeah. It's like no matter what I could do, I just never fit in. That's why, you know, I'm in recovery. And without the recovery, I would have never got to where I'm at today, because I had to start taking a look at myself. But there was so many layers piled on that was just all bullshit. And oh my stars, how difficult that is, looks like I smeared my eye makeup. Isn't that funny? Oh well, life goes on. The hills are alive, fluffy snow. That's like, oh, let's talk about, no. You have to heal yourself to become whole. Trying to live male can be damaging. Absolutely. I mean, I think that we go through a lot of different stages trying to be something that we're not. And you know, there's always that serenity prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And what I could never understand was prior to, in my prior life, I could never figure out what serenity was. I never believed that I actually had reached serenity. I could never be honest about anything. And one time, when I was going in, and I think I've told this story on here before, I was getting interviewed by the public broadcast channel out of Boise, and they were at my bottom surgery. I was talking to the reporters. I was getting wheeled in for bottom surgery, and and I told the guy, that every time my lips move, I was telling a lie, prior to transitioning. I mean, it just wasn't true. There was nothing honest about anything that I did, because I wasn't who I am, if that makes sense. And I probably interviewed with that guy for 3 or 4 hours, and to keep 30 seconds of the thing, he had kind of thought, after he started interviewing me, that he might change the focus of what he was doing to me. And then his editors, the people in power, said no. And so I got like 30 seconds of airtime, actually, which makes no difference to me. And it was, but that's what was in that, is me talking about how I had lied. My entire life was a lie until that point, at that age. And shit, I have been able to find serenity. I have been able to find those missing parts now. And you know, it is just wonderful. But you know, in hindsight now, instead of being stuck living two lives, you know, and we're not quite, I'm going to say something that's not quite the same as what you're saying, but you know, now I can look back and see where it was a benefit to have lived two different genders and to have done all the things that I've done. You know, it was a gift instead. Oh, was it easy? No, don't get me wrong. I use the term gift loosely, but are we going to put a negative spin on it, or are we going to make it a positive experience? You know, that's the thing I think that needs to happen is we turn that time into a gift as opposed to just all bad time, because I've had some fun. I've done some things, and so it wasn't all bad. I mean, it wasn't all good, that's for damn sure. But I don't know. I hope some of this makes sense. You know, I just am who I am, and there ain't much I can do about it, you know. But the thing is, I like who I am. I mean, I've had to live every day of my life to be who I am today, and I like that person. And so here we go. Here we are. Here we are. Here we go. For me too, so many years. Yes, truth and serenity from here on out. My two spirit friends have such a health balance, and they are so valued in their communities. And I think one day we will be valued in our communities as well, because we have a perspective that is so different from other people's. And we should rejoice with that. So anyway, it is 5 after 1. I've been at this for 50 minutes now, or just short of 50 minutes. It is time for me to head for the roastery. Thank you so much for sharing this time with me today. I really appreciate it. I always look forward to these shows where we can chit chat and Christy, I don't think so. I don't think so. Doesn't necessarily have to happen. By the way, are you still in Vegas? So anyway, life is what it is. Let's enjoy it. Dang. We've got we got it going on. We got it going on. So anyway, love you all. And I hope to see you again next week or sooner, like on next Sunday. We will be doing another show God willing, right now we're planning on it. And let's take care of each other. Whatever we can do for each other, let's do it. That's how we can. Hey, bye-bye, Christy. Love you all. And we'll see you later. So let me start doing the whole music thing and seeing what I can figure out. I kind of like doing the soft daydreaming music to get out of here. And no, no, we got a good thing going on. Thank you. And love you all. Bye-bye.